If your time was money, would you invest it differently? This is the thought that I've been playing with over the last couple of days or weeks, even. Because I always feel like I never have enough time. Every single day, I wish I had twice the amount of hours to accomplish so much more in my day. But the truth is that I don't have that many hours. And so I've started to try to change my perspective on how I look at time. Because while, yes, it's a sort of, I guess, finite resource in that regard that we only have 24 in a day, but the value of those hours can be a lot different depending on how you look at them. And lately, instead of just looking at, I don't have enough, I've started to switch this to get a better perspective of what I spend my time doing. To be, instead of I have, say, 8 hours, what if now instead of looking at it as I have X amount of hours, what if each hour was worth my hourly wage? And what am I spending those hours on? As if, like, if my hours were money, where am I investing my money or wasting it most of the time? And it's just, I don't know, blown my mind to a degree or two because I'm realizing that it's like, holy shit, if I, say for an example, we play with a totally imaginary number, and let's just say that I earn $1,000 an hour. Like, I would love that. I would absolutely love to earn that much an hour, but let's just pretend and say that I did. Because usually a higher number gives you an even better feel for the type of thoughts that I've been having with this. So, say for an example, I earn $1,000 an hour. Now it doesn't become, oh, I only have an hour. Now it becomes, I have $1,000 to spend. What am I spending it on? How am I using the resource that I have? Am I spending it on Netflix? Am I spending it on scrolling? Am I spending it on just sitting around doing nothing all day? Because what I've realized is that I do that way too often. So much more than I probably should. Because flip it from, oh, I only have an hour to watch Netflix, makes you feel like shit, makes it feel like you're in lack. But flip that to, okay, this hour is worth $1,000. Would you spend $1,000 to watch Netflix for an hour? Because in my case, I'm just slowly realizing that it's like, wow, I would never spend that amount of money if it was actual money I was spending. So why am I spending it in terms of time? Does that make sense? Why am I spending a resource that is equally as valuable or can be, which I wouldn't otherwise do? Like, it just, that blew my mind on the whole lacking time equation. And it just, I can't really explain it, but it went from just, I don't have enough to, holy shit, I'm wasting it. I'm wasting what I already have on things that aren't worth my time or resource in this case. And it just made me realize that it's like, wow, I'm so wasteful with the most precious resource that I've got. Because, I mean, let's just imagine for a second that, say working out, always worth it, no matter what, like, no matter the cost that it would, like, the amount of money I would have to pay, I would still always work out because it makes me feel sane, it makes me healthier, it makes me better. That's more like investing your money into a long-term stock, so to speak, where you get rewards over time. Like maybe not instantly, but they will compound, and over time you'll see the benefits of your investment. Whereas Netflix is like, well, buying McDonald's. It's the opposite. It's like it's quick, it's easy, it's available, it feels good right now, but over time you're gonna suffer because of it. And so just that comparison alone has just made me so much more aware of where I invest my time, because that's what we do every day is we invest time into choices, into actions, into whatever it is. Whether we do something or whether we don't, it's an investment, it's a choice of whether to do something or not. When we choose to eat the cookie, we choose to not stick to our diet. When we choose to watch Netflix instead of read, we choose short term pleasure over long term gain. And that just, I don't know. It just made me realize that even the things that we don't think are valuable, they're more valuable than we think. At least if we give them value. Because just at work this day, I thought to myself, okay, I have an hour left. I don't have any real work to do. But I could either sit here and do basically nothing. But if that's what I would normally do, what would I do if my time was money? How would I invest my time into something that's actually valuable long term? How would I make this a long term investment instead of just a waste? Because, yeah, we don't feel, at least I don't feel like time is as valuable as it is. It's very easy to take it for granted, to feel like we have all the time in the world, when if your time was worth just as much as you earn every hour, think about that. Like, the amount of time that you spend at work, if you spend an hour earning $1,000, would you spend those $1,000 doing the exact same thing that you just did? Would you spend it doing the work that you did, or wouldn't you? What would you spend that on? Where would you invest it? And say, for an example, that you are in a position like me, and maybe you don't have a full work day. Maybe you have the capacity for, let's just call it, extracurricular activities. Or doing something that isn't particularly work related, so to speak. Where would you invest it? Would you choose to spend as much as your hourly wage, in this case $1,000, on, say, scrolling TikTok, on Tinder, on what have you? Would that be a worthwhile investment for you to make? Would it pay off long term, or wouldn't it? Would you spend money doing the things that you are with your time? Because that really just, I don't know, it makes it a tick box of, is this worth it or not? In a way that I haven't thought of before. While, yes, I could see that maybe watching Netflix isn't the smartest thing, but would I pay money for it? Not in the, like, monthly subscription you pay, but in a usage fee as well. Imagine if Netflix had a usage fee and every hour cost as much as you earn in an hour at work, would you still spend that hour? Because imagine for a second that you work 8 hours a day, but when you come home and you watch Netflix, every hour you spend is an hour that you take away from that salary that you just spent all day earning. If that was the case, would you really do it? Would you really spend one of those, say, 8 hours that you just put in? Would it be worth it to sacrifice 8 hours of your time to then just, in my words, waste one of them? Because no, to me it would not be. It wouldn't be worth that amount of money. Like, God, no. But not only that, this whole perspective has changed the way that I look at tasks and the things that I do. Because if every hour is worth that much, then just imagine if you do something faster, you're effectively saving money. If a task would have taken you 2 hours to do, but now you save 30 minutes, you just gain back $500. If that's not a cool thought, then I don't know what is. But lately, like, that's what's God, that's what's been on my mind. I've just been halfway obsessed with how can I save money? Like, how can I save money in terms of time? How can I invest that time into something better? Something that might even multiply the hourly wage. Something that would be more powerful than what I'm currently doing. That's one of those ideas, one of those thoughts that's just been. It gets me excited. I don't know if it's just me, but it gets me excited to think about time this way. Because now it goes from something that we all have to something that's special, that's worth so much more than the value we normally give it. And oh my God knows that I've overlooked it far too much. So yeah, if your time was money, how would you invest it differently if you looked at it that way? And if you wouldn't change anything, would it change if you doubled or tripled your hourly wage? Would that play a factor? If the value of your time was higher, what would you spend your time doing? What would be more worthwhile for you? Because that's the biggest takeaway from this, I think, is just how do we make our time feel more valuable and use it for something that actually matters to us? Something that we know can make us better or move us forward, move us closer to one of those goals that we have. Let me know down in the comments, and thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.